This is John Rawling with Golden Goals, here taking a look at some of the great moments in the recent years of Wimbledon's history. You'll see once again some of the finest goals scored by the men in Wimbledon shirts and how they helped take the club to FA Cup glory and league success. This is just one of an official FA series featuring all 22 of the Carling Premiership clubs, and we'll be bringing you the golden goals scored by each club in the Football League and the FA Cup over the last decade. Wimbledon's glory day was at Wembley in 1988. Lawrie Sanchez, the goal scorer, as Wimbledon won the FA Cup. And who could forget the moment as Dave Besant lifted the trophy? Almost unbelievably, Wimbledon were FA Cup winners. They'd beaten mighty Liverpool 1-0 thanks to that Lawrie Sanchez goal. Dave Bassett was the manager who guided the club through the divisions into the top flight. John Fashanu, strong and powerful, a competitive centre-forward. Alan Cork, the club's record goal scorer, played and scored goals in all 4 divisions with Wimbledon. Dennis Wise, a skillful little winger, so often the supply line for the big Wimbledon forwards. Men like Carlton Fairweather, a striker who found Wimbledon very much to his liking. Dave Besant was the first goalkeeper to save a penalty in an FA Cup final, denying Liverpool's John Aldridge on that never-to-be-forgotten day. Nigel Winterburn, a left-back who loved the chance to get forward, he signed on a free transfer from Oxford United. Bobby Gould followed Dave Bassett as the man in charge. An outspoken manager, Gould and his assistant Don Howe were to be the men who would lead Wimbledon to FA Cup final success. Vinnie Jones, a self-styled hard man of the game, a former hod carrier who climbed the ladder right to the top flight. There was Terry Gibson, small and fiery, a competitive centre-forward. He had pace, fierce commitment and the goal-scoring knack, and scored many valuable goals for the Dons. Paul McGee, a tricky player brought from Colchester as the man to weave just a little bit of magic on the wing when Dennis Wise had left the club for Chelsea in a £1.6 million transfer. Keith Curle, centre-back signed from Reading for £500,000 in October 1988. He was rated at £2.5 million when he moved on to Manchester City. And Robbie Earle, a goal-scoring midfielder signed from Port Vale for a club record £775,000. People have said that Wimbledon are just a kick-and-rush team. Earle's skill on the ball often proves the opposite. Wimbledon came into the Football League in 1978. Their impact was extraordinary. By 1986, they'd been promoted to the First Division. The Plough Lane fans remembered the days of the Southern League, but just 8 years after joining the Football League, the proud Dons stepped out in Division 1. And in that team, John Fashanu, who'd been signed from Millwall in March 1986. Fashanu, the man who'd go on to become Wimbledon's most famous player of all.
Looking for Wise again, and it might have an important bearing on this match, how well Power does against Wise. And here's Cork! It's in! It's Alan Cork's goal, and Wimbledon are level. And wherever he's played for Wimbledon Football Club, in whatever division, he's kept up a remarkable goals tally. And it doesn't really matter how they go in, it's the fact that you get them in. And Ratcliffe missed it, and then so too, in the end, did Mims, and it just scraped over the line.
Hodges, Fairweather, blocked, but he might get another go. Wise is in there too, and a deflection, and Hodges might turn it back yet, and Fairweather in there, and Wimbledon have scored. Well, it's a goal, their persistence and their enthusiasm at the end of a long afternoon is deserved. Wise, in fact, had Grobbelaar groping for that one. It was turned back beautifully by Hodges, and there's the big man Fairweather, up and in.
Thorne with the free kick. And Fairweather, it's trickled in. Carlton Fairweather wheels away, and Wimbledon, for the first time in this match, lead. 20 minutes into the second half. An undistinguished goal from the West Ham viewpoint. Thorne took the free kick. It went through the heart of West Ham's defence with Martin slipping, and Fairweather clearly got the final touch. Here's Winterburn, who's seen a lot of the ball. And Fairweather, a second time, and a goal. 1-1. Andrews a little bit unlucky, having stopped the first header. But the travelling support from southwest London celebrates Carlton Fairweather's sixth goal of the season. And where was the marking? Andrews left exposed, and even his heroics weren't enough in the end.
Wimbledon's style might have been different, but they certainly played to their strengths, and they shocked many by finishing in 6th place in their first season in the First Division. Bobby Gould, the much-travelled and respected striker, took control this season when Dave Bassett was wooed north to Watford. And Vinnie Jones forced his way into the team, quickly making his mark. The Iron Man somehow epitomised Wimbledon's whole will to win.
Fashanu, left Stroda, Wise, 1-0. With 20 minutes gone, McAllister can only pick it out of the net. John Fashanu was too quick for Gary Stroda. And Dennis Wise met the cross with a splendid volley.
Fashanu into Fairweather, and this is Gibson. Fashanu. And Ryan. Oh, and Fairweather! The equaliser! I don't think Carlton and Fairweather knew too much about it, but it's certainly his goal. Fashanu crossed from the right. Vaughan Ryan had the shot, and the deflection by Fairweather took it past Grobbelaar.
May the 14th, 1988. A beautiful day, one which would forever be etched in the history of Wimbledon FC. Wimbledon against Liverpool in the final of the FA Cup.
And Wimbledon may well thrive on a free kick in this position. Wise will obviously take it. Sanchez, Port, Young and Fashanu in there. And Sanchez was in there. That's a goal for Wimbledon. Laurie Sanchez. Well, what a typical Wimbledon goal. Dennis Wise delivers the free kick. Laurie Sanchez sneaks in and glances it into the far corner. Just got the touch, Sanchez. And there it is. The crazy gang have beaten the Culture Club. Wimbledon have destroyed Liverpool's dreams of the double. And all over the pitch, their players are celebrating something which a few years ago would have been impossible.
Who could have believed it? Just 10 years after joining the Football League, Wimbledon had won the Cup. Presented by the Princess of Wales, and in the background you can see the club's owner Sam Haman. He had every right to be absolutely delighted.
It's a weird and wonderful world if you come from Wimbledon. They've won the FA Cup. And on the day, who can deny them their right? They stopped Liverpool playing.
Before the new season, Dave Besant and Andy Thorne left for Newcastle, both fetching £850,000. And defender Brian Gale moved on. He went to Manchester City.
Joseph to take it. And Fashanu. What a way to start the season. That's a cracking header. So Fashanu takes up his position for the corner. 17 minutes left, the scoreboard shows. Fashanu and Fairweather. 2-2. Sagers quickly fitting into the Wimbledon style with the long free kick. And Fashanu, Sagers has made a goal for him. And Southall is injured in the process. Cork, a chance for the Wimbledon folk hero himself.
Brook will take the kick. Wimbledon have thrown everybody forward. Jones is on the near post. There's Turner and Scales on the line. And with only 4 minutes left, Wimbledon might well have won it.
Sanchez. Well, it's reached Cork. Now, what can the old warrior do here? Joseph going outside him. And Wise and Jones both went for it. Jones is celebrating, but the others have run to Dennis Wise.
Not quite, Vinny. The record book says it's Dennis Wise, but against Derby County, Hans Sagers with the long clearance. Cork challenges Shilton. Here's Carlton Fairweather, and that is Vinnie Jones, no doubt about it.
Turned on by Fashanu. Young is jumping. Mims has lost it. And Gibson equalises for Wimbledon. Joseph's done well with that. Here's Sanchez with a bit of space. Oh! Gibson! 3-2. They deserve it.
Sanchez planting it on. It's dropped behind Humphrey. Fairweather will collect it. And John Fashanu has turned in the equaliser as Charlton rather hang their heads. Wise. Full of signals and full of expertise at set plays. It's gone in from Terry Gibson. And Southampton look to the referee, but no foul given on Burridge. 2 minutes left. And Wimbledon have won it. Carlton Fairweather with the back header. And there's so little time for Southampton to come back.
Jones, the long throw expert. Eric Young at the near post, and Terry Gibson, a spectacular overhead kick. Great finish.
Well, the longer this goes, the more confident Wimbledon appear to be getting. Wise, here's Jones. Interesting line in leg wear. Hasn't impaired his performance, though. Curl. Fashanu's the target. And here comes Laurie Sanchez. And Wimbledon go in front.
It's launched by Sagers. Foster. And now Vinnie Jones. Wow! As they say in the game, pick that one up. The midfield man who always seems to have to prove himself has got one for his memoirs here. That was a splendid shot. With a great leap beyond the far post, he's waiting in the middle again, but Gibson has turned it in. And the big man was the distraction that time. And it suited Terry Gibson down to the ground. Jones, who scored the first, delivers the cross for the second. And Marvin Johnson left it to the goalkeeper. Scales! Jones was involved again because he got the first header there, and John Scales buried the second. Hill caught by Sanchez, and Luton still can't get it away. Jones on from Phelan. Now Fairweather, will he have another run at them? Fashanu, that's a textbook header. Everything about it absolutely right. Six minutes remaining, and just look at this again. The perfect leap, the flick of the neck muscles, the downward direction. Splendid.
Martin beat Fashanu. Dix. Owen Curl's got the better of him. And there are players getting forward on the far side. Dennis Wise is one of them, if he can find him. Here is Wise. And Wimbledon take the lead. West Ham creating their own problems. And Dennis Wise punishes them. Curl it was who got forward from the back, and that's not a bad cross either for a centre-back. McKnight got his fingers to it, but couldn't keep it out. Fashanu again, and he's got the free kick. Martin hasn't been too far away all afternoon, but a bit too close that time. Wise with the kick then. They're all lined up across the edge of the 6-yard box. Oh, and that ball! Well, may very well have carried all the way through. Fashanu was the target. Fashanu celebrates, but it might very well be that Wise's kick carried beyond him and found its own way beyond McAllister too.
Scales. "26 minutes gone.
But this would be a good time for Wimbledon to hit back. Wise with the corner. Jones. Scales! And they have. Scales, who makes a bit of a habit of that sort of thing. And it's 1-1.
Wimbledon's defenders so quick in their work. And Young not just settling for breaking up the attack, he's starting one for Wimbledon. Fairweather. And Sanchez is unmarked. Fashanu. Sanchez! Well, Derby have done so well away from home this season, and Peter Shilton's played a major role in that. Joseph. Joseph again. Wise. Fashanu! And Shilton had absolutely no chance. That's just where John Fashanu likes them. And he steered the header into the corner. But the front players just can't hold it up for Derby at the moment. And it's wave upon wave of Wimbledon attacks. And this is Miller. He's past Shilton. Paul Miller. His first goal in the First Division. And it's come against Peter Shilton, who was left totally exposed again after Derby had given the ball away. And Miller just needed a little bit of luck because it hit Shilton and ran on just into his stride. He slotted it in perfectly. But there's much more wear and tear on the pitch in this half of the field. Scales. And he wants to join in. Miller. And Blades couldn't deal with the danger. Paul Miller's got a second. Blades turns his back on Shilton because he knew the complaints would be coming. It was his mistake. But all credit to Miller, who kept on running and touched it over Shilton. Jones making a nuisance of himself, and it's gone in, and I think John Scales has claimed it. The goalkeeper's lost it. And it's turned in by Lori Sanchez. Jones preparing to hurl another missile. Fashanu, it dropped behind him. Scales is there. And prodded in. Another scramble, another goal, this time by Miller. Forrest struggling in the air again. And Fashanu right on the line. Sanchez, who got the winning goal at the City Ground in December. Already on the score sheet here. Fashanu again, and Sanchez, it's over the line, and Lori Sanchez has got his second, and Wimbledon's fourth. Sanchez, you just can't rule Wimbledon out. And Queen's Park Rangers, who are looking as though they were cruising to victory, are now hanging on. Sanchez, Wise, it's back to 4-3.
Wise with the kick, Fashanu, and Wimbledon have got one back.
Wise. Past the lunge of Sansom. Joseph. And Miller, although the angle was a difficult one. Cork joining the posse in the centre. And Wise should be able to pick one of them out now. He's found Jones. It's all going Wimbledon's way. Jones. Cotterell. His first goal. From a great cross by Vinnie Jones.
I think it was his head that met it as it comes back out to Wise. It's a good-looking ball in. Cork was there, yes! What a good goal by the veteran Cork. And Wimbledon's record league scorer, ever dangerous in situations like that, reacted quicker than any Arsenal defender. A corner that Arsenal never properly got cleared. A good ball back in. Look how quickly Cork rose to meet it. Good header, 1-1. Here's Fashanu. Wimbledon coming back again with Joseph. He's done well here. Fashanu on the far post, and he looked for him. And the ball drops, and in it comes from McGee, was it? Yes! The youngster scored on his league debut. Amazing. And Wimbledon are back level again. Well, you'd think it was Wimbledon in the hunt for the league championship, the way they reacted to that goal, but certainly you can understand the joy of Paul McGee. Great work here by Joseph, the fullback, and a fine cross as well. McGee had the confidence to strike it first time. In it goes, he'll remember that forever.
The FA Cup defence ended in the quarter-finals. In the league, Wimbledon were 12th, and for £675,000, Vinnie Jones moved on to Leeds.
5 lined across the box, and that's Cork's header, and it's gone in. What a brilliant little deflection.
Wise with the kick. Oh, Fairweather! Horn came and missed it, and Fairweather punished him. Driven long, Fashanu's underneath that. Here's Wise. Cork, that's a good run. And Alan Cork has scored. Nicely taken by the veteran striker.
Here's Wise. Fashanu! One from the John Fashanu manual.
Chamberlain's kick. Eric Young is underneath that. Fashanu. Here's Gibson. Fashanu's gone on with Krasinski here behind him, and he must score. 1-0 Wimbledon. Wise with his arms raised. Young, and Wimbledon are in front. Cork. Wise. Oh, that's a marvellous goal. Dennis Wise.
Scales. And Hussein finding Gibson there first. Fashanu in the centre. And Grobbelaar. Oh, and it's a goal! By Wise. A goal that will haunt Grobbelaar. And the artful dodger of Wimbledon, Dennis Wise, from a Grobbelaar error. 1-1.
Fairweather and Wise sizing things up. A lot of movement on the far post. Here comes Eric Young. 1-0 Wimbledon. Wise with the kick. Well, it's come all the way through to Gibson. Oh, didn't he take that well? Eric Young well forward. Here's Dennis Wise. Sanchez on the far side, who's carrying the sponge now to mop up the blood from that cut. And here's Sanchez again. Oh, and he scored!
Paramount importance. Everton are very, very close. Joseph. Oh, and it's Fairweather, and Southall, he's lost it, and Cotterill. Steve Cotterill has equalised for Wimbledon. Everton couldn't clear the corner. And when it was knocked back there by Ryan, look at this from Fairweather. And Southall dropped it. Cotterill was right on hand. Fairweather. Now Joseph. Oh, Gibson. Besson stopped it. Gibson's got the rebound. And Wimbledon have hit back straight away. Cork. Wise is there. Besson beaten again by his old club. Curl. Now Cork jumped. I don't think he really expected to get to the ball, but Gibson has done. And little Terry Gibson all alone amongst the big men. Cork. Smuggle the ball wide to Wise, who really smashed it in. Phelan found by Wise. Dennis Wise involved in everything. Oh, that's come off Roberts. Besson's missed it. Cork hasn't. An extraordinary goal on an extraordinary day for Wimbledon. They now lead by 5 goals to 2, and it's a nightmare for Besson.
Still not clear. Scales, 1-1.
Stoppage time now at the end of the first half, but enough time for Eric Young for Wimbledon.
Gibson darting off through the middle again. Here's Dennis Wise. And Fairweather trying to find the byline, and he's done very well. Krasinski, 2-0. Gibson. Oh, that's a good ball in. There's danger here. Fairweather and Gale, the substitute, makes it 3.
Manchester United had a ball to deal with there, which was very difficult for them. It's in, it's Eric Young. So the aerial bombardment pays off for Wimbledon. Manchester United pushing out. Leighton decided to punch when he might have caught it. And Wimbledon launching themselves at it, and it's turned in by Alan Cork.
Fashanu with Bowen at his back, and Dave Phillips now. Well, between them, they managed to take that ball off him. Back in again by Phelan. Here's Keith Curl. Well forward. And Gibson! Oh, that's 1-0 in the very last minute. Driven forward. Get used to seeing that at Flower Lane. Oh, Bennett. Bennett has scored on his debut. 1-0 Wimbledon. Clark battling away for City. Here's Cork, the substitute, and he's in and might score. He has. Well taken. 1-1.
McGee's throw. Phelan made a move for a short pass, but it went long, and Wise is in the clear here, and Dennis Wise has walloped Wimbledon level. Wise and McGrath, well, that is a feud that has been threatening to boil over. Dennis Wise rarely keeps his thoughts to himself. Antrobus takes the free kick. Fashanu! They found his head, and he found the back of the net. And Aston Villa, who've been carrying all before them in the First Division, are 2 down. Wise. Scales happy to thump it long, and Miller chases it, and he's got Cowans for company, and he's beaten him. And he slipped McGrath, and he's scored! And that really makes it a day to remember for Wimbledon here at Villa Park. Even at 2-0, they were hanging on a little bit, but Paul Miller goes it alone now, and there was nothing that Aston Villa could do to stop him. Wise leaving it for Antrobus. Fashanu! No one moved for Everton. They'll have to move now to pick the ball out of their net, where Fashanu has deposited it. Antrobus. Wise coming in, and Wimbledon are in the lead. They find it so hard to win at home, but it's 2-1 now.
Andrews has come and missed that, and Young has somehow squeezed that in. Driven in. Oh, Scales! 2-1 to Wimbledon. Dennis Wise being forced back. That's a good ball in. Fashanu! 3-1. What a lovely header. Driven long. Fashanu and Young the target. Young got up. Wise! Oh! Beautifully struck.
Norwich forced back by the depth of the ball from Sagers. Fashanu has steered in the equaliser.
Well, that's sloppy. Straight at Eric Young. And here come Wimbledon again. And Charlton might pay for that. Wise is in and must score. Drilled in. And the sheer power of the shot took it beyond the goal line. Fairweather. And Fashanu on further down the line. Oh, he's a real handful. Fashanu. He's on his way again. Well hit. Marvellous goal.
Wise against Bardsley. Beats him once. He hasn't got away from him. Phelan trying to lend some support, but Wise still gets the cross in. Seaman's dropped it. Against the post from Miller, back of the net from Fashanu. Well, John Fashanu, who has really come alive over the second half of the season, encouraged by an outside hope of getting a World Cup place. And the goals have been flowing. Another one here after Miller hit the post. 1-0 Wimbledon. Wise assesses the possibilities. Will he roll it to Ryan as he did in the first half? He's produced a goal for Miller. How well Wimbledon work their free kicks. And Dennis Wise is a master craftsman in that respect. And the work off the ball is so well rehearsed. Wimbledon back in front. And you do concede corners against Wimbledon, and Wise, in particular, at your peril. There's a chance and a goal! Hooked in acrobatically by Keith Curle. So Wimbledon, it seems, are going to finish on a high. And in character, too. A goal from a corner. Scored by Curle from Miller's flick on.
At the end of the season, Bobby Gould left the club. Gould's deputy, the coach Ray Harford, was named as the new manager of Wimbledon. They'd ended the previous season in 8th place, and before the new season began, Dennis Wise had moved on to Chelsea in another big money transfer. Against Queen's Park Rangers now, here's early season action. Sagers with the long kick. Finds Fashanu, and that's all it needed. Barton to Curle. Curle's cross finds Cottrell. Gale challenges. Shilton, well, he almost stopped it, and in the end it was Cottrell who followed up. Next against Sunderland. Corner swung into Alan Cork, and Detsy Krasinski, fine strike. Curle with the free kick. There's John Gale. Eventually comes to John Scales. Wimbledon 2, Sunderland 2. Sagers taking the free kick. There's Barton. Chips it forward as far as John Gale. Wimbledon 1, Manchester City 1.
Using the wind. Krasinski hits the bar. Oh, and a simple goal. Phelan. Fairweather to his left is Joseph. In the middle is Phelan and Cork. Nice Fashanu. Good goal by John Fashanu. And that was an excellent goal.
Off Andy Thorne. McGee hitting it well on the turn. A fabulous goal. What an amazing goal, Paul McGee. With 10 minutes of the game gone and no apparent danger for Crystal Palace. Nigel Martin, 4 or 5 yards off his line, and little McGee turned, as they say, on the sixpence and floated one over the big goalkeeper into the back of the net to put Wimbledon ahead. To Fashanu. John Fashanu. A little chip. A brilliant goal. Absolutely brilliant goal. There was a real touch of class about that one. And for the second time in the match, Nigel Martins had to backpedal, but couldn't backpedal quickly enough. Beaten by a truly brilliant chip there by John Fashanu. Into the back of the net. Scales. Might come from McGee. Not another one, surely. McGee. Splendid goal. 4-3. Some really nifty footwork there by the little Irishman. Work again by Carlton Fairweather. Turned his man well, went round the keeper and slid it perfectly into the back of the net.
Keith Curl with the free kick. Eventually falls to Alan Cork. And there he is. How many of those has he put away over the years? Warren Barton with the corner. Headed only as far as Paul McGee, and that's a sweet strike. Next against Chelsea. Here's Gibson. Cork. And Gibson gets the final touch. Wimbledon beating Chelsea by 2-1. Terry Phelan with the throw. Finds the head of Fashanu. On to Gibson. Fashanu again. The big man, a fine cross, and Warren Barton gets the header. There's Barton. Lovely crossfield ball, picks out Paul McGee. Precision pass, they appeal for offside, but Terry Gibson puts it in the back of the net. Wimbledon beating Everton 2-1. Now against Norwich City, a case of Fashanu all the way. Marvellous goal from Fashanu, pace, strength, and in the end a superb finish. Sagers finds Barton. There's McGee. And John Scales finishes it off. Terry Gibson to Fashanu. Gibson wants it back. Fashanu has other ideas. Joseph with the throw-in to Barton. There's Fashanu battling for it. Appalling back pass. McGee intercepts. There's Barton. And McGee gets the final touch. Barton to McGee. Comes as far as Krasinski. And there's John Fashanu. Wimbledon 2, Queen's Park Rangers 0. Still there was to be another. Barton with the free kick. And there's Fashanu again. Wimbledon win it 3-0. Against Arsenal, John Fashanu again showing that strength and pace. Fairly hopeful looking ball to the far side. But there's John Scales, and he has time to measure his cross. Detsy Krasinski, unmarked. Manchester United, the opposition now. Sagers. Comes as far as Gibson. And eventually John Fashanu. Paul McGee with the free kick. Oh, and Fashanu again up above the Forest defence. Great power in the air from the big man. Barton takes this corner. And Fashanu again, this time at the near post. Unchallenged, but perfect. There's Barton. To Scales. Krasinski. Gibson. Here's McGee. And there's Alan Cork. Wimbledon beating Luton on that occasion by 2-0.
Wimbledon now trying to create on the break. Here's Warren Barton. Long ball forward. There's Coman, challenged by McGee. A chance on there for Paul McGee for Wimbledon. And that's the opener. Paul McGee puts Wimbledon ahead. And it's a goal which Andy Coman will be very unhappy about indeed. So the Wimbledon celebrations, but here was Coman, the replacement for Derek Mountfield, getting in a Fankel here, allowing the little sharp striker Paul McGee to go in behind him, and that was deadly finishing.
More Wimbledon finishing power against Derby County. Fashanu in the air, Terry Gibson scores. Wimbledon have a habit of reserving something special for Liverpool. This time, it's Barton with the free kick. Well, you can't blame Grobbelaar, that was superb. Barton starts this off against Coventry to Joseph. Joseph finds Fashanu, and there's Terry Gibson. Another win for Wimbledon. Throwing comes to Barton, helped on to Fashanu. Fashanu looking up and picks out Paul McGee. This turned out to be a marvellous win for Wimbledon. And from this free kick, well, spectacular Keith Curle. Warren Barton beating the offside trap. Cork wants it in the middle. Instead it comes to Gibson, and that's as good a header as you'll see. By now, Spurs must have been feeling distinctly shell-shocked, but there is more to come. Barton. Alan Cork in acres of space on the far side, and the cross picks him out. There's Cork doing what he does best, getting on the end of the cross, and Wimbledon beating Spurs by 5-1. Elkins, the free kick. Comes to Barton. McGee. And there's Fashanu. Next against Sheffield United. Elkins again with the free kick. Comes to Mickey Bennett. And there's Alan Cork. Joseph the throw-in. For McGee. And Fashanu again, up above the defence. Curl to Elkins. Route one, all the way to McGee. Forrest caught napping, that's the second. There's Gary Charles for Nottingham Forest. Warren Barton gets away from him. And here's Andy Clark. A third for Wimbledon. They beat Nottingham Forest 3-1. Against Manchester United, it's Fashanu. And then Clark again. Barton with the throw-in to Joseph. Back to Barton. Finds Clark. And that's Fashanu lurking. Scales the long through ball, and there the pace of Clark. Everton beaten by 2-1. Free kick against Aston Villa. Vaughan Ryan in the air, and John Fashanu, yet another headed goal. Wimbledon was 7th and Fashanu had scored 20 goals. It was the end of an era, though, because Wimbledon left Plough Lane and their new home would be the Crystal Palace ground, Selhurst Park. Robbie Earle signed from Port Vale for a club record £775,000, a talented midfielder, and less than a month later, Keith Curle went to Manchester City for £2.5 million. Terry Phelan's cross against Chelsea, and it's the old story, there's John Fashanu. Free kick comes as far as Earle. Wimbledon and Chelsea drawing 2 goals apiece. Next against West Ham United. Big clearance from Sagers. Finds Fairweather. And here's Earle. Sagers again. A bit of good fortune, but then picks out John Fashanu. The defence hesitated, Fashanu certainly didn't. Wimbledon win 2-0. Vaughan Ryan with the free kick. Finds Fashanu. Sagers out to Fairweather. Fairweather doing well, good control, fine cross, and in the end a simple goal for Earle. Against Coventry City, here's Fairweather. Picks out Alan Cork, so good in the air. That was a win for Wimbledon. Here's another against Luton Town. Cork to Clark. Wimbledon winning it by 3-0. Here against Spurs, Barton with the corner. Comes to Cork. Sagers again with the free kick. Looking for the big men, picks out Fashanu and comes to Mickey Bennett. Barton's corner against Sheffield Wednesday. Flicked on as far as Scales, and there's Newhouse at the far post. Newhouse, a forward brought in from Chester, getting a taste of the goal action. Barton the corner again against Norwich City. Punch from Gunn. Barton getting a second chance, Newhouse the flick on, and Scott Fitzgerald scores the goal. Clearance forward for Clark. His pace puts him clear of the Norwich defence, and it's another goal for John Fashanu. Well, Clark created that one. This time, he's the scorer. Gary Elkins giving him the chance, and Clark again showing that pace down the left, and it was a fine finish. Wimbledon beating Norwich 3-1. Elkins with the free kick against Aston Villa. Comes out to Barton. And there's John Fashanu hooking it in. There's Fashanu to Joseph. And here's Robbie Earle with space. Phelan with the throw to Gibson. There's Barton. And it's number 2 for Robbie Earle as Wimbledon win 2-1.
Away by Gareth Southgate's good volley. From Scales forwards, and Warren Barton now in the clear. Warren Barton away from his man. Chance here for Wimbledon. Needs someone back with him, and Warren Barton equalises.
Coventry City the opposition, Barton with the free kick. Miller flicks on, Robbie Earle gets in at the far post. Phelan to Newhouse, on to Fashanu. There's Barton on the overlap. And it's a rare goal for Lawrie Sanchez, in fact his first of the season against West Ham. Now against Chelsea. Fashanu to Barton. Another one for Robbie Earle. Barton with the throw-in to Cork. Here's Paul Miller. Miller has time to look up and finds Fashanu. And that was bravery in the box, just where it counted. Barton's long ball through to Paul Miller. Miller looking for help. In the end finds Robbie Earle. Earle to Phelan, and Phelan with space to measure his shot. Wimbledon beating Villa 2-0. Here's Alan Cork. Cork's cross, Fashanu's finish. That was another win for Wimbledon, this time against Manchester City. Now it's the turn of Notts County. Sagers with the long clearance. Here's Earle. Paul Miller. Fashanu. Oh, and what a goal that was. Fashanu, the most deft of little headers there. Round the defender, looked up, measured his mark. And it was a superb finish. Again against Notts County. Barton's throw-in finds Paul McGee. McGee to Sanchez. And there's Robbie Earle. Phelan's throw to Sanchez. Comes to Miller. And here's Earle again. The pace of Terry Phelan, round his defender, and picks out big John Fashanu at the far post. Same combination now. Here's Phelan, and here's Fashanu. Wimbledon beat Nottingham Forest 3-0. Free kick against Luton. Comes to Fashanu. Here's Phelan. There's Fashanu again. Fashanu's so important to Wimbledon over the years. Goal after goal in the Wimbledon shirt. Sagers the long clearance. Fashanu in the air to Miller. Looking for support. And it comes from Joseph. Robbie Earle this time. Warren Barton with the throw-in. Comes to Miller. And there again, Robbie Earle. Wimbledon finished the season in style. They beat Sheffield United and their old manager Dave Bassett by 3-0. The Crazy Gang just keep on winning. The Dons finished 91-92 in 13th place. John Fashanu, top scorer with 20 goals. Some people may criticise the Wimbledon style of play, but they do keep scoring those golden goals.